Turnaround, 2 words. The opening of one of the most recognizable songs in the history of popular music. Bonnie Tyler recorded Total Eclipse of the Heart in 1983, and on July 8, 2026, Turnaround, after 70 days of fighting in a hospital in Portugal that most of the world didn't fully know about, she died. She was 75 years old. Her family said they were heartbroken. Catherine Zeta-Jones, whose cousin had been married to Tyler for over 50 years, wrote, "My heart is broken with the news that our dearest Bonnie Tyler has passed away. This is her story, and it deserves to be told in full, because the ending was not sudden. It was the last chapter of a battle that had been going on since April. Bonnie Tyler was born Gaynor Hopkins in 1951 in Skewen, Wales. She came up through the British club circuit in the early 1970s, a singer with a voice that was, from the beginning, unlike anything else in the room. Raw, husky. Emotionally exposed in a way that most pop voices of that era weren't. The huskiness had a specific origin. In 1976, she underwent surgery on her vocal cords to remove nodules. The surgery went wrong, or rather, it went differently than planned, and she emerged with the distinctive raspy, smoky quality that became her signature. A medical complication became her most identifiable artistic trait. She used it. She built an entire career on the specific emotional texture of that voice. A voice that sounded like it had already been through something, that was already carrying something, before the song even started. It's a Heartache in 1977. Total Eclipse of the Heart in 1983, Do Sing, #1 on both sides of the Atlantic. Holding Out for a Hero in 1984, songs that were not subtle, songs that went all the way in, that demanded everything from the singer and gave everything back to the listener. Bonnie Tyler was not a subtle artist. She was a full commitment artist, and for over 4 decades, that commitment resonated with people in a way that outlasted every trend that came and went around her. On April 30, 2026, Bonnie Tyler was rushed to Faro Hospital near her home in Portugal. The reason? Severe abdominal complications. The kind of medical emergency that arrives without warning and demands immediate attention. She was hospitalized and stabilized. Her team communicated with the public in general terms. The seriousness of the situation was not yet fully clear to the outside world. And then came May 6th. Emergency surgery, a perforated intestine, a burst appendix. These are life-threatening conditions. A perforated intestine allows bacteria to leak into the abdominal cavity. Sommerprost to renadu. A situation that can become fatal quickly without surgical intervention. A burst appendix carries the same risk. The surgery was necessary. It was also, by the nature of what it addressed, enormously traumatic for the body. To give her system the chance to recover from that trauma, medical staff made the decision to place Bonnie Tyler into a medically induced coma. She was 75 years old. She had just survived emergency surgery for 2 simultaneous serious abdominal conditions, and now she was in a coma in a hospital in Portugal, far from most of the people who loved her. In mid-May, while doctors were beginning to attempt to bring her out of the coma, Bonnie Tyler suffered a cardiac arrest. The heart stopped. Medical staff resuscitated her. They brought her back. Her team updated the public with the phrase that carries both relief and dread simultaneously: seriously ill but stable. Those words, seriously ill but stable, are the language of a medical situation that has not resolved. That is still moment to moment. That could go either way. Think about what that period was like for the people who loved her, for her husband Robert Sullivan, who had been married to her for over 50 years, for Catherine Zeta-Jones and the extended family, for the team of people who had worked with her for years, waiting, hoping, watching a woman who had spent decades giving everything she had on stage, laid lying in an ICU in Portugal, having survived surgery and a cardiac arrest, with the outcome genuinely uncertain. On June 15, 2026, 6 weeks after the emergency hospitalization, when our verse potiples, Bonnie Tyler woke up from the coma. Her representatives confirmed the news. She was no longer comatose. She was conscious. She was also, they were careful to note, very unwell, still in the intensive care unit. Still heavily monitored, the waking up was not a resolution. It was a step, a significant, hopeful step, in what remained a serious medical situation. For the people following the story, June 15 felt like the corner being turned, like the beginning of the recovery, and perhaps, for a time, it was. But the damage that a burst appendix and a perforated intestine and a cardiac arrest inflict on a 75-year-old body, even one that has survived them, is not easily undone. The complications continued. And on July 8, 70 days after the initial hospitalization, 23 days after waking from the coma, Bonnie Tyler died. Unexpectedly, her team said. Despite everything that had come before, despite the 70 days of awareness that something serious was happening, The actual ending came without the preparation that sometimes accompanies a longer decline. It arrived, and she was gone. Robert Sullivan had been married to Bonnie Tyler for over 50 years. 50 years! The entirety of her professional life, essentially. The period that encompassed It's a Heartache and Total Eclipse of the Heart, and Holding Out for a Hero, and the Eurovision Song Contest, and the decades of touring, and the awards, and the cultural moments, and everything else. He was there for all of it. Catherine Zeta-Jones, whose connection to the Tyler family ran through her cousin Robert, wrote that her heart was broken with the news. That phrase, our dearest Bonnie Tyler, carries the intimacy of someone who knew her not as a famous person, but as a family member. As a constant presence across decades of shared life, the grief that is being felt in the immediate circle around Bonnie Tyler is not the grief of fans who loved a voice from a distance. It is the grief of people who knew the person, who sat across tables from her, who traveled with her, who were in the room through 70 days of fighting. Here is the thing about Total Eclipse of the Heart that is worth saying clearly. It is not a subtle song. It is a song about need, about the specific desperation of loving someone and needing them in a way that is almost uncomfortable to admit. Every now and then I fall apart. Those words, sung by a voice that sounded, from the first note, like it had already been through something, so I'd letting, reached people in a way that more polished, more controlled vocal performances never could. Because Bonnie Tyler did not sound like someone performing emotion, she sounded like someone feeling it. The voice that came from that 1976 surgery gone unexpectedly, the roughness, the rawness, the quality that her producers initially worried about and then realized was the entire point, was the vehicle for one of the most emotionally direct voices in the history of pop music. She gave that voice to songs that deserved it, songs that asked for everything, and she gave everything back. For 40 years of recording, for decades of touring, for every arena and every smaller venue, and every moment when someone in an audience heard that voice and felt something true about their own life. She was 75 years old, she fought for 70 days, and then she was gone. The tributes have been pouring in since the announcement. Prime Minister Keir Starmer, a fellow Welshman by heritage and a leader of the country that produced her, offered condolences. The Welsh music community and the broader British music world have been vocal in their grief. Memorial details had not been publicly announced at the time of this script. What is certain is that Total Eclipse of the Heart will keep playing. It has never stopped playing since 1983. At weddings and in supermarkets and at karaoke nights and in every context where someone needs a song that goes all the way in. That song is permanent now in a different sense than it was before yesterday. The voice behind it is not coming back. Which means what exists, the recordings, the performances, the specific emotional texture of what Bonnie Tyler put on tape, is now the complete record, finished, whole. And it is extraordinary. Bonnie Tyler was told in 1976 that her voice had been permanently changed by surgery. She turned it into a career that lasted 50 years. She recorded one of the most performed songs in the history of popular music. She represented her country at Eurovision. She toured continuously into her 70s. She lived in Portugal with the man she had been married to for over 50 years. And she spent her final 70 days fighting, Ardo, in a hospital, in a coma, through a cardiac arrest, through waking up, through the complications that came after, with the same tenacity that she had always brought to everything. She didn't make it to the other side of that fight, but she fought. Catherine Zeta-Jones said her heart was broken, so is everyone else's who ever turned up a car radio when that voice came on and felt something they couldn't quite name but recognized immediately. Every now and then I fall apart. Rest well, Bonnie. You didn't fall apart. Not once. Not until the very end. Let me know what you think.